As you can imagine, the politicians are very concerned about us on the heels of what just happened in a suburb in Dallas today. There was a mall shooting, and it is horrible, guys. Anytime something like this happens, it's horrible. What is the remedy? Does the remedy lie in Congress? Does it come on the heels of somebody writing a bill, or congressmen getting together and congresswomen getting together and writing a bill that becomes a law that makes the rest of us safer by infringing on rights? I just want to read some of this to you. This is the rundown from the Counterfeit News Network. And I'll play this. Let me play this clip real quick. It's like 56 seconds. Let's listen to what they say.
7 more wounded after a gunman opened fire into a crowd at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. That's just north of Dallas. And a warning, some of what you're about to see is disturbing. Witness dash cam capturing the moment the gunman got out of his car and then immediately began firing, ambushing unsuspecting people walking by. We're pausing.
Unsuspecting. Maybe that's the problem. Unsuspecting, unprepared, disarmed people. What if you were suspecting? What if you were on the lookout? What if you were prepared? What if you weren't disarmed? Would you be in a better position to protect yourself? Is it a good idea to wait for somebody else to protect you through legislation while they're trampling on the rights of other people? These are just some questions.
This video before the shooting actually begins, but other witnesses were recording as the attack unfolded.
By the way, for the YouTube screeners and for the algorithms, nothing questionable is going to be shown on this. Just people running across the parking lot. Nothing graphic is shown at all.
You hear multiple rapid gunshots. You see people running for their lives. And a photo obtained by CNN appears to show the gunman.
Wouldn't it be great if you heard about something like this, somebody attempting to do this, but then somebody goes, you know, I'm not going to run for my life. I'm going to hunker down and I'm going to look for a strategic position and get an opportunity to take a clear shot at the gunman so we can put down this threat. Wouldn't it be great?
After he was shot by a responding officer, and you can see an AR-15 style rifle nearby. He is clad in.
How convenient. The vilified rifle of the century, the AR-15, just laying right there. Photographers, easy access to it. So we can put this on news programs all across the country and around the world so we can further criminalize the people who possess this fine weapon.
Black body armor and appears to have several extra magazines strapped to his chest.
And we need to criminalize body armor while we're at it. And you know that they will, and they have in certain places. It says what we know so far about the massacre in Texas Outlet Mall. The gunman opened fired at an outlet mall in a Dallas suburb of Allen, Texas on Saturday, the latest mass shooting to shatter an American community. It's horrific, guys. Nobody in their right mind, nobody with a moral compass applauds this. And it's outrageous to realize that this keeps on going and people keep waiting for somebody else to step up and protect them. Nobody's coming, guys. Nobody's coming to save you. If it is to be, it's up to me. If you leave your car, if you leave your house without a personal protection device, you have to know by now that you're on your own. More than a dozen victims, at least 8 people were killed and 7 more were wounded in the massacre. Victims ranged from age 5 to 61 years old. Very tragic. A father who rushed to be with the son at the mall described the horror that awaited him there. An officer who was already at the mall for an unrelated call when the gunfire broke out. The officer followed the sound of gunshots, tracked down the shooter, and killed him. So he was already on the scene, which means if a good guy with a gun, and that's who stopped this mayhem and this madness and this massacre, is a good guy with a gun. And why do we constantly hear a good guy with a gun is not an answer to a bad guy with a gun? Then why is it that it's always the answer? And why do people pick up a phone and call somebody that they perceive as a good guy with a gun if the answer is not a good guy with a gun solving the problem created by a bad guy with a gun? Just makes no sense. The gunman, who dressed in tactical gear, has been identified as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia, according to this senior law enforcement source telling the Counterfeit News Network. Garcia had been living in some kind of temporary housing in the Dallas area. According to this source, he used to work as a security guard and had received firearms training in that role. The gunman's weapons. The shooter was armed, of course, with the AR-15 style black assault rifle and had at least one other weapon on him when he was gunned down police. But we're not going to mention that weapon. But we will capitalize on the AR-15. Potential extremist ties. Here we go. Authorities are investigating whether the shooter was motivated by right-wing extremism. Why that? Why not left-wing extremism? And then they talk about possible white supremacist ties. Why white? Why not another color? Can't that be a possibility in the metaverse? Authorities have not zeroed in on specific motives, but the source said the shooter was found with an insignia on his clothes that reads RWDS, an acronym known to watch groups, potentially standing for right-wing D squads. He also had an extensive social media presence. Well, of course he did. That included a neo-N and white S related posts, according to the official. I just want to say, why is it that when something like this happens, nobody brings up the actual solution, which we also had in the news, but that they downplayed? You talking about the New York Slimes downplayed it. The Washington Compost Pile downplayed it. The Counterfeit News Network downplayed it. NBC, which is nothing but crap, downplayed it. ABC, which is always broadcasting crap. Even Fox News downplayed it. They talked about it for a short time, but you remember the Greenwood Mall? Do you remember the name of the young man in the Greenwood Mall that took care of a mass shooter, a potential mass shooter, and actually stopped a mass shooting within seconds at 40 yards with a handgun? That's this guy right here, 22-year-old Elisha Dicken. Well, somebody tried this in another mall called the Greenwood Mall in Indiana. Elisha Dicken took care of the perpetrator in seconds with a handgun, like I said, from 40 yards, and then they downplayed it. As a matter of fact, there's something you need to know about the people who are really pushing for gun control, which is not gun control, but it's people control, because that's a euphemism to defuse a critical thinker. This is from the Brady Project that wants to ban most guns. Their executive director said, quote, "Here's what we're not going to do. Continue to uplift the NRA myth of good guy with a gun. Let me be clear. If more guns made us safer, America would be the safest country in the world. We need sensible gun laws, not vigilante safety." In other words, we just need politicians to create more laws that's going to cost us more money and make us less free. We don't need any more Elisha Dicken people on the scene taking matters into their own hands and executing justice expeditiously and with great marksmanship. And that, to me, in my opinion, is insanity when you have all this stuff continuing to happen. What is the answer? What is the answer to quote unquote gun violence? Is there such a thing as gun violence? Isn't it really people violence? Is there such a thing as gun control? Isn't it really people control? And exactly who is it do we want to control the guns? Is it the government? Do you trust the government? What part of the government's going to control the guns? If the government's going to control the guns, then that ensures, in the opinion of some, that only two groups will have the guns. That's the government and the street criminals. Because you won't have them. Why? Because you're going to be a good little boy or a good little girl, and you're going to turn them in because you're a law abider. Is it a virtuous thing to be a law abider? A lot of people would contend that it's better to have a firearm and not need it than to need it and not have it. What do you guys have to say? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list or my website, highimpactflix.com, and I will see you in the next video.